One of the most demotivating situations to find yourself in is when after months of hard dieting and losing weight, you realize that you've ended up skinny fat, meaning that your weight is already pretty low for your height, but you still have belly fat, love handles, and when you look at your body, you're pretty skinny. What do you do now? Do you continue losing body fat to remove that excess that's left, or do you go for a quote-unquote lean bulk? What is the actual solution? And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about in this video. I'm going to share with you what are some of the worst mistakes people make so they end up skinny fat, and I'm also going to share with you, if you're already on that path, if you realize that the results you're getting don't meet your expectations, what can you do to get yourself on the right track so you can follow these tips to finally get to the physique that you want. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. First off, here's how most people end up skinny fat through dieting. Let's take Joe for example. Joe is overweight and Joe knows it. Joe wants to get rid of 30 pounds to get back to his old college weight, and he's very motivated to do this for himself and for his family. So he finally makes a decision. It's time to get his health under control. Joe starts doing research, he starts reading articles, he starts watching YouTube videos, and he finds out that to lose weight, you need to enter a calorie deficit. Great. Joe does even more research. He starts finding out that actually, if you want to accelerate weight loss, it's a good idea to add some cardio and to do some fasting on top of that. All things that Joe wants to do, so he cleans up his diet even more, he tightens things up with his calories, he starts adding cardio, a little bit of fasting, and things are going great. Scale is dropping, Joe is feeling very motivated, he drops 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15, 20, he can wear his old clothes again, he feels amazing about his results. But what Joe doesn't realize is that he's not just losing fat. He's losing fat and muscle along the way because he's not doing any weight training because he was too complicated for him to get into. He doesn't feel very confident. He doesn't have a lot of experience. He just wants to do that later maybe. He also doesn't eat enough protein because that's just for all those meatheads and bodybuilders in the gym. That's not important for him. He just wants to lose some weight. And sometimes Joe also falls off track because nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. And so on the weekends, sometimes it's a vacation, Joe ends up gaining some weight back because he wants to relax a little bit. He's worked really hard for it. So he puts on 5-6 pounds, but he's very confident that he can get rid of that. And so after his vacation is finished, he goes back home, he goes back to the old system and gets rid of that weight. But what's really happening here is that every time Joe is losing weight, he's losing fat and muscle, and every time Joe is gaining weight, he's primarily gaining fat because he's not lifting weights and he's also gaining that weight really quickly. So over time, his body composition is getting worse and worse because of inefficient fat loss and inefficient gaining. So he ends up in a situation where there's still plenty of fat to lose, and it gets harder and harder for him to get further results and to even keep his results. So how do you fix this situation? What can you actually do to avoid ending up in this situation? Well, the first mistake Joe made was how he approached his diet. He did the right thing by focusing on a calorie deficit that is really the main mechanism, but he also tried to accelerate weight loss too early by using a ton of fasting and also being restrictive with his diet. There's nothing wrong with some intermittent fasting. It can actually be very helpful, but you want to be careful with how fast you're losing weight. You don't want to be losing more than 1% of your body weight per week, and that's really only in the beginning. When you start getting into 20% body fat and below, you're looking closer to about 0.5% of your body weight per week because the speed of weight loss really determines a lot about your body composition. If you go too fast, you will end up losing muscle. Now, the second big mistake Joe made with his diet was that he was not getting enough protein on a consistent basis. And this is a very common mistake because people believe, well, they want to build muscle, they want to be some jack dude in the gym. It doesn't matter for me. It does really matter a lot. So my recommendation here, if you're not sure about your protein intake, is to get about 1 gram per pound of your ideal weight. So if your ideal weight is, let's say, 160 pounds, you get 160 grams of protein per day. And another recommendation that you could use to calculate this would be 1 gram per centimeter of your height. So if you're someone who's 5'10" like I am, and that's 178 centimeters, you will get 178 grams of protein per day. You can round that up at 175 or 185 or 170. Plus minus 10 doesn't actually matter, but I really want to make sure that you're paying attention to your protein intake and that you're getting enough protein on a consistent basis. So many people say they get their protein, but if you actually look at the logs, if you actually look at their MyFitnessPal or whatever else they're using to keep track, if they're keeping track at all, you will realize that there's a lot of days they miss protein, and that's something that and can truly optimize. Now, with the diet out of the way, the biggest mistake Joe made, aside from not hitting the like button, which you can definitely remedy right now, is that he was not focusing on lifting weights. His primary way of training was cardio. So his body didn't have any reason to add muscle or retain muscle. And you might be ahead of me and saying, well, Mario, I'm already lifting weights. I got you. Well, how are you lifting weights? If I look at your numbers right now, compared to your numbers 3 months ago or 6 months ago, on your key main lifts, how much objectively did you improve? How many more reps can you do? How much more weight can you do? How much better is your technique? What has actually improved? And I'm not talking about subjective improvement where you said, well, I feel like I'm working hard and I'm pushing myself. No, objective improvement. What does the log say? Are you getting better? Are the numbers improving? 9 out of 10 times they're not improving, or the person doesn't even know because they're not tracking their workouts. That's how you end up stuck. That's how you end up not building muscle and kind of going to the gym and just going through the motions, randomly repeating things without ever driving progress. Training smart means that you're paying attention. There's a level of awareness there that you know how much you've done today. Are you getting better compared to previously? And if not, that now it's time to make some changes. It's not enough just to do a 15-minute pump session at the end of your workout when you've done 45 minutes of running and now you want to do a little bit just so you feel like you're not neglecting. And that's not going to build muscle. Maybe a little bit for a complete beginner, but if you're really looking to achieve exceptional results here, you need to prioritize lifting weights. And my recommendation is 3 to 4 sessions per week, hitting each body part 2-3 times per week. Those sessions are going to be about 45 minutes to an hour. Pick about 2-3 movements per main body part. Pick one of those movements that's going to be the main one you focus on and double down. If all this sounds uncomfortable and you're kind of thinking, wow, that's so much work to do, well, that's exactly why you need to do it. Because if you haven't done this, and if this is not something you enjoy, you haven't done before, like proper performance-based training where you focus on strength, that's exactly why you need to do it. That's where the growth is, because the things that make us uncomfortable are usually the things that drive the most progress and where the quote-unquote gold is hidden. And that's how you're gonna not ever end up skinny fat, because you will have the muscle. The only way to end up skinny fat is not to have the muscle, and this is gonna fix that one main problem. Now, it's not fair to mention results without going over expectations. If you're currently skinny fat, or if you notice that your progress might be a little bit slower than other people, you really have to commit to the long game. And yeah, people don't experience the same rate of progress. Some people progress slower, some people progress faster. And I think practicing some degree of acceptance while at the same time striving to do better and learning more about this is the key. I remember on my journey, the reason why I was so passionate about fitness, why I was studying so much when it comes to nutrition and training, was because my results weren't as fast. Just because I felt like I needed the edge. I needed to dive deeper into this. And I really was very careful to compare my results to other people because I didn't see the point. I mean, it's just a distraction. At the end of the day, what is the use of it? Sure, yeah, you could progress faster than someone else. It's good for your ego. Do you want to get your ego to feel that way? Or what if you notice that you're progressing much slower than everybody else despite you putting in 10 times more effort? Well, it's just going to lead to frustration. So there's no point at the end of the day. And it's really about looking at your own journey, celebrating every step of the way, every PR, being grateful for every new photo update that you do. You see changes. Notice the small things, notice the small improvements, and really focus on effort, improvement, and consistency. If you have those 3 things in place, you will get to your goal eventually. It is just a matter of time. And your goal ultimately should be being the best version of yourself, not looking like me, not looking like someone else. It's about looking like you can look, and that could be better or worse or whatever, but it's all subjective. At the end of the day, it's about you maximizing your own situation and focusing on what you can control. And that's how this does become a lifestyle and an enjoyable process. And it is really about taking care of yourself mentally and physically, so you can have all the right programs in the world, but if your mind is constantly occupied with all these viruses of comparing yourself to other people, beating yourself up, you're not going to enjoy it long enough. You're not going to be consistent with it, and it's just doing yourself a disservice. So focus on the mental and the physical. Enjoy the journey, and I promise you're going to see great results. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below to get informed of the future videos as well. Details for coaching, if you want to work with me, are in the description below. Check that out as well. I'm going to leave a video here at the end for you that you should check out if you're skinny fat. It's going to give you extra guidance on whether to bulk or cut or what to do next. Aside from that, I'm going to see you in that next video.